The night before Valentine's, I was sick in bed, barely awake. Then I woke up. I couldn't move. Something was in the room with me. I couldn't scream, couldn't even look. I closed my eyes, praying it was just a dream. When I opened them, nothing was the same. I created a Reddit account to only share this story. I want to get it out there to see if there are others who have had similar experiences. Without drawing this out too long, I will begin by letting you know that sleep paralysis is not, and never has been, a reoccurring issue for me. The two instances this phenomenon happened, once in grade school and recently as an adult reaching my 30s. I can't remember my exact age, but I think it's safe to say it was between 10 and 12 years old at the time. It was the day before Valentine's Day, and I was sick with a fever, upset I would be missing out on my school festivities and sweets the following day. I was sent to bed early and was terribly ill as I dozed off. Now this flu could have attributed to my experience. I have thought about the possibility of it being some sort of fever-induced delirium. However, some of the details that have followed have made me less certain that this was actually the case. I must have woken between 12 and 3 a.m, and I was lying on my side, facing the wall that my bed was pressed up against. I awoke with a pressing feeling of presence in my room, and assumed it was my mother checking in on me, as my fever was pretty bad. I called out to her, and was met with silence. At this point, I knew who or whatever was in the room was not my mother. The fear took over my rationality. It wasn't that I couldn't move, I was just too scared to. I did manage to roll onto my back and kept my eyes locked on my ceiling. I didn't want to look at it. It was at this time I began to feel a sense of peace, and my dread dissipated. I began to feel comfort from the presence. As soon as my senses calmed, I will never forget what I saw next. A hand came into view, slowly cupping over my brow. It was not human. It was long. The digits on the hand were unusually long as well. The hand was slender, graceful, and downright creepy. It had a luminescence to it like I'd never seen. As soon as it made contact with my forehead, I was out cold. The next morning, I woke in my bed, I shit you not, completely healthy. No fever, no trace of my previously drippy nose and nasty cough. I felt a strange sensation of well-being even. I went immediately to my mother's room and asked her if she'd been in my room, and confused, she informed me she had not, and commented on my strange behaviour. I told her what I could recount from the previous night's experience, and it was brought up from time to time, years and years after, as a very strange occurrence. My mother even went as far as to call it an angel. Now, on to the present. I feel it is relevant to mention that I have seen multiple UFOs throughout my life. It may also be worth it to say I live in a very rural state. I have seen UFOs alone, in groups, and with people who can verify their trajectory, so I know I'm not insane. I have seen both day and nighttime sightings. Aliens and UFOs do not cross my mind often, as my life is busy now. About 1 month ago, I had another experience that shook me up badly, and made me recall the encounter I had as a child. I awoke around 12 or 3 a.m. to a distinct feeling of presence in the room. I thought immediately that we had a break-in and the intruder was in the room. I was on my back, filled with so much terror I could not move. I have a nightlight adjacent to my bed that I share with my fiancé. He was sleeping on the side closest to where I assumed this thing was. I was petrified and too scared to look at his side of the bed, and instead saw the shadow of this thing cast on the wall, right beside me. It had to have been no taller than 4 feet. From what I could tell from the shadow, it was slender, with a large oval-shaped head. Again, I couldn't bring myself to look at it. It has bothered me that in these two experiences, I could not bring myself to look. Something inside me said, "It's all over if you see it." Instead of feeling calm, this time I felt like my life was in danger. I didn't get the good feelings I had with my previous encounter. I was out of my mind with fear and found I was unable to scream or move anything except my fingers. It raised its hand up and I instantly recognised it, even by the shadow. It was the same sort of hand I saw in my room over 10 years ago. At this point I could feel my fingers pinching into my fiancé's thigh, but he was not waking up. This fueled my panic. I was so scared I actually fainted. I can't recall any dreams or details from there. The next night I lay in bed with the nightlight on, lights off, and asked my fiancé to stand on his knees by the bed. His shadow mimicked an accurate projection placement of whatever was blocking the light the night previously. I have been deeply troubled by this since, and have no other occasions of sleep paralysis in my entire life. So was this just some freak brain chemistry hiccup, a lucid nightmare, or actually an encounter with an interdimensional extraterrestrial being? That's all for this video. Thank you for staying until the end. Like, subscribe and leave a comment. Every interaction brings us closer. Join me next time when we delve deeper into the archive. The records are waiting.